Cold beer here. Welcome back, everybody. We took a little week off. Sorry, I had to move, and it was a pain in the ass.
Life happens.
That's the way it goes. What's happening, Tilly, man? What's going on?
I went camping this past weekend. Floated down a river. The springs up here are very, very high. I remember because we went to Ginny Springs, and most of those springs, like around the edge, I could usually stand on. I get in the one that I'm used to being able to stand kind of along the edge, and couldn't even reach the bottom. If I swam down, I could, but at that point, I'm holding a beer how far above my head. But it was a good weekend, good time.
Cool.
Slept in my car because I have AC in my car, and outside does not have AC.
Yeah, it's hot. There's no question about it.
Yeah,
but
that's cooled down with that storm coming through and kind of pulling some of the warmth with it. At least today was a little bit cooler than the last week or two.
Yeah, it's been overcast, which sort of take for granted. It's kind of nice. Doesn't burn everything up. Dogs can walk without their paws. Foxy pulled me onto the grass the other day, walking down the street. I totally forgot, and I was just like, "Oh shit, yeah."
Yeah.
Because the streets here are all new, so they're pretty dark.
Yeah.
Hopped on, but yeah.
Yeah.
Good weekend, man. We got a big weekend coming up. We're obviously going to be talking about some college football because we love that.
Yeah.
But what are you drinking? What are you drinking tonight?
So tonight I'm drinking the Swamphead. It's Godric. It's their Harry Potter. I can never get it right to . So it's Godric. It's a fruited Berliner Weiss. It's pretty good. Very sour. It's perfect for tonight. But what are you drinking?
I've got a Concrete Beach Havana Lager. I had a few of these left by some of the lovely women brewer Pink Boots members that were at the brewery. Gosh, was December of last year doing a Pink Boots collab brew, and they brought different stuff up and left some. Lagers don't go bad, and I've been chunking away at a few of them here and there.
Nice.
Concrete Beach. Nice. Have you been down to Wynwood?
Not anytime. I haven't been anywhere really anytime recently except for Colorado, South Georgia, and work. But
Concrete Beach is closed at this point. They were purchased. They were bought. What was the deal with that? I can't remember. But yeah, their tap room is. Oh yeah, Dogfish Head. They went into their tap room.
Oh, okay.
In Wynwood. Forgot about that.
Cool.
Anyway, there's still some remnants of Concrete Beach out there.
I always have remnants of beer sitting around my house somewhere. And then I go, oh, I forgot about that.
Hopefully it's still it was a logistics challenge getting all my booze and wine and beer over here because we had like a 36 hours of we had to sleep overnight. We were out of the house,
in between range.
Yeah, I had to take all my booze over to my parents and then make sure it was in the house so that it was at least room temp. And so the beer warmed, but only to room temp. And then I put it back, in the fridge and test out a few things. It worked out okay. It's
Yes.
Then not too long that they were out.
Yeah. So just minimize the disruption, and it should be okay. As long as they're not sitting in the back of a moving van for 2 weeks, I feel like you're probably going to be okay. Or even 2 or 3, 4 days.
Well, so this is a good opportunity to tell people, the 16 people who might listen to this. If you have a craft beer if it is a lager or yellow beer, it can, probably live outside your fridge. Okay. I would keep it at room temp though.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, put that thing in the fridge. It does not live in your garage. It does not sit next to the Bud Light. It does not work well. If it's an IPA, incredibly poorly if you want to leave it out. If it's a hazy IPA, even poorer.
Poorer.
And so, I just tell people all the time, I don't care what beer it is. Beer should be cold. If you like beer, get a beer fridge. And if your beer fridge doesn't have any room, then stop buying beer until you drink the stuff you have in your beer fridge. Or if you have a cellar and you want to cellar some of the big beers, fine. Put those there. They'll be fine. But beer's got to be cold, man.
Yeah. So it definitely survives a lot longer. I've got some cellared ones, and I've got some various other cooler ways of storing. But generally, the stuff I go to the store or go to the brewery and pick up and buy, I'm trying to drink that in the next. Not only am I trying to, put it in the fridge, I'm trying to drink it in the next week or two. In general, it's only those big 14, 15% imperial stouts and stuff, barrel aged, that I'll store.
I was at Publix just a couple of days ago. Because I live about 100 meters from Publix now, so that's kind of nice. This one has a liquor store too attached next door. So I went in there. The beer selection is way better in the grocery than it is in the liquor store. But I grabbed a 6-pack of 12 ounces of let's see, what's it called? Sunshine City. I think that's the hazy from Green Bench. Sunshine City.
Sounds very familiar.
Anyway, it's good beer. I picked it up and looked at the born on date. It was fucking January. And it was early January. And I just was like, oh. And I don't know what that says. If I was Green Bench, I'd be bitter because I wouldn't want that on the shelves.
Yeah, because then someone's going to buy it and they're going to be like, the beer's terrible, or it's just not that good.
So, what are you going to do? That's a tough one. So I just grabbed a 12-pack of Sierra Nevada because even though the born on date of that was older, I know it's pasteurized and yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
So, but I feel bad for breweries. I know that I've come across some of the same stuff. Not that crazy, but some of the same stuff at some places where at a liquor store, your stuff will be in the back cooler and it'll get buried. One case will get stuck behind a bunch of other shit and
then all of a sudden they pop it out when they are doing inventory and they discover it, throw it back on the shelf.
Oh yeah, throw it on the shelf. And you're like, oh. One time I found it, so that was fortunate. So
it's just buy it and be like, let me get this out of here.
Yeah. But what are you gonna do? That's
kind of the price to pay to be on grocery store shelves.
Yeah.
Some of these places, some of these craft beer just stores, they'll rotate through a lot more. But it still happens there.
Yeah, a lot of them.
It's very easy to lose a 4-pack of something back behind some other stuff and then discover it.
And a lot of those places don't have a lot of cold space. So I have a lot of warm craft beer.
Yeah, it's got to be picked up and bought. That's why I like to go in the places where I know they have the new stuff shelf, and that's pretty much I shop almost predominantly off of that. I'm grabbing off of there, and then I'll go look at the other ones. But
big stouts, mixed culture stuff, fine. But
yeah,
man.
Yeah, you got to be careful and pay attention and look at what you're buying. Just like anything else. You wouldn't just go in and buy beef off the shelf and not even at least check. Now I know they change their labels all the time, but but all right. Speaking of liquor, are you going to be on the lookout for this natural light vodka? It's going to be popping up on the shelf. Walk across the street to your Publix, go to the liquor store, and just be on the lookout.
I won't personally. If someone has it, I'll take a sip of something. But that's about it, I think.
I think I'm gonna have to at least buy one of the bottles. It's gonna be the black cherry lemonade if I see it.
They put flamingos on their labels,
Hey.
I see.
They're appealing to a Florida base there. They're appealing to somebody.
There's no other alternative.
So if you haven't heard, just not to be super vague, we discussed it a little bit beforehand. Natural Light is making their own vodka. They're gonna have 3 different flavors: lemonade, strawberry lemonade, and black cherry lemonade. 30% ABV, so about 60 proof, and then you get normal bottle sizes anyway. Yeah, regular twist top thing, so it's super duper good. But they did give a guarantee. The Daniel Blake, Group Vice President, Budweiser and Value at Anheuser-Busch, says they're such believers in Natty Vodka that they are guaranteeing you're going to love it or you're going to get your money back.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to give you the money back? Publix? Or do you got to send the voucher into AB InBev? Good luck with that.
I think I'm going to have to chug the whole bottle, and then I'm going to send that video directly to him and say I did not like this at all. This was a terrible decision. And but I mean, how can you doubt a brand that came out with such fine flavors or such fine drinks as Natterdays frozen icicles, Natural Light sour seltzers, and Natterdays pineapple lemonade? I mean, they've got a streak going for them. I know there's a certain segment of population that consists mostly of fraternity and sorority clientele that's going to be probably drinking a lot of this. I imagine it's going to be very sweet, and possibly I may hate it as much as I hate Fireball. But we'll see. I'll give anything a shot once.
It's going to be gross.
It's going to be so gross. I can't wait.
But you know what? They made Natty Ice, and people crushed that, and that's gross too. So
that's even grosser than I think this could be. So
yeah,
I have a hard time thinking anything lemonade is going to be grosser than I don't know.
I can
Natty Ice.
Assure you that this weekend, with all of the college football happening and blessing our lives again, with fans in stands and loud stadiums, I will not be tailgating with any Natural Light vodka products.
All right. Well,
called Natural Light vodka? Oh, come on, man.
You got to know where it comes from. At least they're not lying on the label. Sometimes you go into a store and you're like looking at something, and then you finally start reading the label, and you're like, this company makes this. I don't want to buy this.
They're probably going to tell you, hey, it's only 30% ABV. We told you it was light.
I mean, that's what I was thinking when we were talking about it. It's like, it could be like, 10% more, and that'd be about like, but they're keeping it light. They're keeping it fresh.
Mm-hmm.
No, hey, so if we tailgate a game, I'm going to make sure I bring a bottle of this.
Absolutely not. But we will be tailgating this weekend. That is for damn sure. Whether you're hanging out at the house tailgating, usually for opening weekends for me consist of just hanging out at the house and leave me alone. And I'm going to eat bad food and
let me do drink. Whatever I want to do.
This weekend I will be in Tallahassee, however.
I mean, that's Notre Dame, right? So you gotta go for that one. I mean, I'm not gonna say aren't, it's college football, anything can happen. Y'all are unlikely to win, but it's at least a good game to go to. Good pageantry, good actually playing a good team. We are not playing a good team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Florida State. I think this game is a pretty great opportunity to bet on Florida State if you're a gambler, because they're going to get, what the hell, how many points they have? They're going to get a bunch of points.
Spread.
And I got to be honest with you. if Florida State stops the run, they're going to win the football game.
It says the line is Notre Dame by 7.
Ooh,
So
that's gone down.
That's on ESPN. I have no idea where ESPN grabs their lines from. I'm sure you can find others that are higher, but I feel like most of them are probably going to be in roughly the same range.
I mean, I think ESPN saw that they're going to start a quarterback that transferred from fucking Wisconsin, and they're like, "Gosh, how is Notre Dame going to score? They're going to run the
over
football."
Under 55.5.
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty low.
But it's very early in the season, so that's when like if that spread was maybe like, I was expecting it to be like 14 or something like that.
Me too, actually.
But I guess for a home team playing in Tallahassee, 14 may be a little bit too high, but like 10 or something like that, I'd be tempted to maybe, if I gambled, I don't put a little bit on like Florida State covering, but it's early season games.
I think it's a smart idea to put
early season games are weird.
Florida State money line is not a bad bet to win, because it's, like you said, it's early season, first game. Notre Dame's starting a bunch of new players. Florida State's can't be worse. And
hey, as someone who for several years used those same words, it can't be worse. There's almost always a worse, and I was like for years I was like, well, the quarterback play can't be any worse, and I was like, well, shit, look what I did.
I can assure you that it won't be worse, at least as it goes with this program now, than it has been the last couple of years. COVID was weird for everybody, so that sucked. But it was also kind of a nice way for the staff to have to begin. It's almost a throwaway year, so they really just got to like get rid of players that they didn't want by watching them.
The issue being like, you can get rid of players, and like it was a good throwaway year with COVID and everything happening. It's kind of like, man, whatever happens, like kind of year. But also, it could make recruiting tougher unless you're like Clemson, Georgia, Ohio State, and Alabama. Like, because there wasn't like the opportunities as much for like on-campus stuff. There was so much like virtual and digital stuff, and it's hard to sell people over that unless you've got like if you're trying to build your program, you want to be able to get people on and like in person.
Well, fortunately, Florida State's got a top 10 class at the moment and the number 1 player in all of college football.
Yeah, that's not going to help for this year.
Oh no,
I'm saying. But I was saying
they're recruiting off of that trash season.
Yeah, but you have some leeway with that. But like being able to get people on campus, I'm mostly talking about the class that would be coming into this year. Is hard to like. It's hard to motivate those guys to want to come to your school when they haven't even been able to come on campus. And it's like, oh, we're going to talk on Zoom. Like I talk on Zoom every day. I have meetings every single day.
People who are already on campus?
Yeah. Like I'm talking about the COVID class.
Weird, just weird.
So like you have the benefit of being able to like kind of like call it a throwaway season and kind of like try to get some guys to transfer out. But it was also like harder unless you're like Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, those kind of Georgia, to like get them to just like commit almost not sight unseen, but like without having that like visit. That makes sense?
Yeah.
What I'm saying make any sense?
Those guys are gonna it's tough for everybody because those guys then have less to go on too. Yeah. And we've seen in many cases where a really highly ranked, I mean, obviously in the aggregate, you want as many highly ranked kids as you can get. But in some cases they don't pan out. And so when you that's why you need as many as possible face to face, it would be interesting to ask, the Nick Sabans of the world, like how many really good high school ball players come on campus and you meet them and you're like, not fucking,
that would be interesting.
What they are, I'm not offering them. And then that would be an interesting conversation because a lot of these people meet they really want to know the people, and they didn't get to do that last year as much.
Yeah, I mean, it goes both ways to an extent, for sure, but yeah. So I didn't even notice until just now. I just had looked at the schedule earlier. I knew y'all had played. Y'all were playing Notre Dame, but I didn't know actually what time. It's actually on Sunday, so
It'd be awesome.
It's gonna be all eyes on y'all.
Yeah, Saturday, Sunday is a nice little run of games. Miami, Alabama, Georgia,
Clemson. Who's the other one that I was thinking of?
There's a couple other decent. Wisconsin, Penn State. It's not a bad one.
Alabama, Miami.
Yeah.
Georgia, Clemson. There's one other. I was obviously Florida Atlantic. No, I'm just kidding. But LSU, UCLA.
Penn State is a top 20 matchup. It'll be interesting to see how the Big Ten. The cool thing about college football this year is a lot of new, whoever wins the Heisman is going to come kind of out of the mist, out of the fog. There's really good players that we know of, but there aren't any super marquee studs who, especially at the quarterback position, that we're sure about.
Yeah.
Necessarily. There's a lot of great, young.
There's a lot of great players, but there's not like that. Everyone could have named probably two of the guys that would have ended up in the ceremony for the Heisman last year, and now it's they're out there. I'm sure it's just there's a lot of new faces at a lot of big programs.
Yep.
So,
they're really, really highly projected players. They just haven't done it in real life. So
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to watch. I'm definitely interested.
Gotta get this show on the road. It's gonna be a lot of fun to even watching the ball games on TV, just to hear the crowd, and it's gonna be better.
Like to see game day and see fun.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go to our first game. I already sold my tickets to it. I'm going to go tailgate for a little while, see some friends I haven't seen in 8 years or something like that, however long this pandemic's been lasting. And then I'm going to probably head back and watch it at the house. I was telling my dad, I was like, when you're playing this early season matchup thing, an FAU or North Central Illinois State Tech University type of game that, so many are played. I'm so there's two choices in my head when I'm actually at the game, and it's so it's either halfway through the game and I'm all right, we're up by, 5 touchdowns. I'm ready to go back out to the parking lot and drink some more. Or it's shit, we're up by 7 at halftime. I want to go back to the parking lot and drink and watch the rest of this game on the TV. So it's almost I want to be around the pageantry again. I want to tailgate with I want to see my friends.
Yeah.
But I don't want to go into the stadium for this game. So I sold my tickets. I'm going to go hang out with friends and tailgate and then drive back home and watch the game. Plus a 7 or 7:30 game this, playing these kinds of teams. I don't want to necessarily be in the stadium in September at 1:00, but I also don't want to be getting home at 1:00 in the morning for a FAU game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's I got a big TV.
You got to pick and choose when you're going to spend yourself, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
I prefer watching games on TV, unless I can, unless I'm in the end zone, almost dead middle. I love watching games like that. Now you only get the perspective going the one direction.
Yeah.
I enjoy watching end zone film. Since I coach tight ends, I had to watch end zone film really, And so I just got used to watching that. It's a lot more fun to see how holes open up and different and stuff guys come open, because on TV you never see that. You never get that. No one, you can't I always thought it sucked that you can't download and watch the all 22 from games. I don't understand why they don't allow fans to do that. But it doesn't, it's film, it's out there. Oh well. But those are fun. I like watching games that way. But being at this one, I'll just go because probably end up hobnobbing around with different people and end up in the box talking to different people. And it is, I would say, a 20% business trip, since we got beer at the tailgate, and I have a couple conversations with different people as we continue. We'll count down now from now until next year to hopefully have beer at the stadium.
That'd be cool.
Next year. So it's just about meeting the right people and figuring out that kind of stuff. So it's a write-off. It's a write-off.
Yeah. That's good.
But there's going to be shit you miss.
And a fun trip.
So you can watch it later, because there'll be stuff you miss because you just, you don't get replays.
Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to crane your neck up at the big screens just to try to see the play from a bad angle again.
Yeah. Then it's always the same angle. Or if it's like a play that's sometimes they don't show, because the home team won't try to. I don't know. Home video operators they don't show all of the replays.
Yeah.
It's like if like your guy might have not caught that ball, they're not going to show it.
It may not show up, or if they do, it's going to be the worst possible angle that doesn't show.
Yeah.
And anything that could be useful.
Yeah, that's fun.
But hey, football's finally back.
Football's back,
and
man.
Someone's playing tonight, right now while we're recording.
Yeah, Minnesota, Ohio State are on right now.
Yeah.
Going to be probably 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. Buckeyes. I think Boise UCF play tonight.
Yeah, I think I was looking that up.
Is that later?
Well, it's delayed right now, so it must be
delayed.
the thunderstorm and stuff going on right now. But yeah, fun.
Yeah, so maybe that will be later.
Tennessee's playing right now.
Are they?
Yeah. Bowling Green. They have Joe Milton with them now? Man, I have not kept up with football transfers at all.
Not your Urban Meyer.
I was like, Joe Milton's there? Jeez. Well, I'm sure they're going to end up winning this game against Bowling Green and be all amped up for a big year for them, and then reality will smack them in the face like it has for the past 15 years or so. But yeah, I'm going to have to watch some football tonight before I go to bed.
State is up 17-0 on USF. Yikes. I wonder how long it's going to take USF.
We play USF next weekend in Tampa. So,
but that's I'll be in.
You're gonna be in.
Yeah, I'll be in Denver. I'll be at CBC, and I got some work, actually, some panel discussion that I'm on there, and then I just today got tickets for my wife and I to see Brandi Carlile and the Colorado Symphony at the Red Rocks, and we have never been to Red Rocks. Brandi Carlile sings. She's got a bunch of cool music. The Story is probably her most famous song, and that was Adrian and my wedding song. So we're my future boss is going, and he was like, "Hey, we're going to Red Rocks. You should get tickets." And I was like, "Holy shit!" I didn't know how close it was to Denver. I mean. I still don't. So it must be reasonably close. It must be within an hour or something. But, we'll be in Denver for a few nights, so we'll get all the beer shit done. But, I never even thought about doing that, and I couldn't be more pumped. Mid-September, Colorado mountains, outdoor concert. Weather, it's going to be hoodie weather.
So Red Rocks, I mean, it's off of major roads. I think it's not. So where is? Can't ever find anything. There we go. It's not too bad. I mean, it all depends in a city the size of Denver. It all depends where you're at in Denver too. I assume you'll be near downtown.
Oh, dude,
it's like for the business stuff. So
it's basically right on the outskirts of the interstate loop of the city.
Yeah. Huh. So it's not too bad.
Well, that's awesome.
Well, fun. Yeah. Well, I'm sure you're gonna have a great time then. I should have one as well. I'm coming down to Tampa. Yeah. I'll swing by and send some pictures from within Bay Canyon.
You gotta go get it. Get yourself a Cuban or some smoked wings weekend.
Is that next week? Is it on the weekends in general, or?
Yep, every weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
I'm down with that.
Yeah, those are the business.
Well, we were talking about football, and it reminded me of something, and I sent you the link. Have you been following this story of the fake high school that played on ESPN last week?
Yes. I mean, I just read I haven't gone down the rabbit hole, but I read a bunch of stuff, like quotes from the kids and like just kind of some of the main shit. Holy cow, dude! What?
It's wild that it's wild that they ended up on ESPN, and some of that is a factor of like playing IMG, but like still like it seems like nobody who was doing this and I have no idea if there was a company that proposed this to ESPN or who at ESPN looked into it, but nobody it seemed like did their due diligence.
No, nobody did
at all. And IMG is just probably looking for anybody that they can play.
I mean, even the parents haven't done due diligence.
Well, I mean, I saw a video, and I would have to find it, on Twitter of the trainers just kind of standing around not knowing what the heck to do. I was like, this is a severe safety issue because
I mean, the governor has launched an investigation. The governor of a state,
and the head coach of Bishop Sycamore, which I admit is a pretty cool sounding name for a high school football program. It seems pretty on point. Bishop Sycamore. He has an active warrant out for his arrest.
Since this or previous?
No, previous, when he was on the field coaching. Oh, this was right. Immediately afterwards, people were like, he has an active warrant.
Yeah, that's right.
The school's official website as of Wednesday was taken down for maintenance.
In another state, right?
Yeah, I think it was out of state.
Yeah, dude. What? I don't, it, at the end of the day, I can't, it just sounds cliche to blame parents, but I don't know what else to do. This shit only happens if parents are essentially not involved.
There was a lot of failures along the way, and the fact that
because they have to field the team with kids, with parents. You know what I'm saying?
The fact that this school, I don't really know what else to call it right now. They used their address on maxpreps.com was to a university, I forget which university, their library. And then there was a different address on a different thing that was somewhere else entirely. None of which was an actual school. There was a lot of failures in this. And honestly, the state should have also been they're playing high profile programs. They're not they're scheduled to play high profile programs, and somebody needed to be keeping an eye on these types of shenanigans. And definitely one of the parents at least had to have been hold on now.
Yeah,
But
when they played like
where,
2
where are
games
they?
in 3 days.
Like, where are they even practicing at? They don't even have a school, so like they're just like rolling up to like some municipal park and practicing on like a public park. Like,
Like I said, I didn't go that far deep down the rabbit hole, but like, yeah, I mean, obviously they practice somewhere, or they don't actually. You know what? Somebody said they don't practice that much, and they just
well,
had 2 games in 3 days.
they played 3 games in 10 days or something like that. Like it was 2 and 3 and 3 and like 10 or 8 or 9, something like that. It's wild. It's like they played like almost a double header, like for football, basically a double header, like 2 and 3 days.
Yeah,
I
I
where were
mean,
these games played at? How do they even travel there? Like, because I feel like this coach is like shoving
yeah,
money in his pocket, about to go
they
on the
just
run from the law. Like his scam is up, and now he's about to like disappear.
they just drove them like just like
Like,
put them in
just
car like they. I don't know.
like it's
I
like
don't know. They couldn't do that. They have to get like 6 vans just to get all the
I
kids.
mean, I mean, maybe he took some of the money he got from ESPN to buy like a cheap bus, and they just, I don't know, man. It's a bizarre story. I have no idea the logistics of how he managed to pull it off for not even just one game. They went 0-6 last year, so
Yeah, it's
they
incredible.
played 6 games last year, and somehow throughout all of that, nobody was like, "Hold on, I've never heard of this school before." Is it
And
that easy to just like make a high school and like start playing teams? Like,
they picked it back up this year. No problem.
they started off right where they ended last year at 0-6 by starting 0-1, losing 58-0. So,
It's crazy.
I don't know.
It's crazy.
Well, the world we live in. So I was going to mention my least favorite topic of beer,
Mm,
and that's pumpkin beer. I know
it's a
there are
terrible
people out there that actually enjoy it. At least they enjoy the pumpkin spice ones. I've never met anyone that actually enjoys like the more pumpkin-y beers, but it's about that time of the year. Some of them are starting to roll out. Chefly, Rogue, Odyssey Beer Works. There's a Dunkin' Donuts collaboration beer with Harpoon with the pumpkin spice latte beer. Ciders, of course. Honestly, cider, like, for if it's pumpkin cider, like, it's far less objectionable to me than just regular pumpkin beers. But anyway, it's hands down my least favorite time of the year for seasonal beers.
Well,
I don't like pumpkin, and I don't like
I mean, I
pumpkin
don't
beer.
like pumpkin, but I like Oktoberfest style beers a lot. So
Yeah,
I like Marzen beers. It's a shame. On one hand, it's a shame that pumpkin beers exist. On the
yes,
other hand, it's a shame that they don't just make Oktoberfest style Marzen lagers and call them Bohemian lagers, and we can have them all year. Because
yeah.
I used to sell an Oktoberfest beer at the brewery up north, and you can't you can't give that keg away after October 1,
Yeah,
and
like
that's a
it's not
shame.
October. It's not October anymore.
It's a shame. It's a great style beer. It goes with food. It can be a chill beer drink by itself. You can have several of them. Like as a bar, that should be. You know what I mean? It's like if someone's like,
It's in the name. So when people see Oktoberfest, if you sold it year round, you know that's why like rebranding it to an extent is needed. They're
yeah,
like, well, that beer's got to be like super old by now. Like it's February. October was like 5 months ago.
that's why we actually almost did that with some inventory. We actually almost just renamed it and sold it as the same. And but because I was like, because honestly, I don't care. I was like, I'll tell all the bar managers the truth, but it's good beer and people will
Yeah.
drink it.
And people like it. I like October. I drink Oktoberfest year round if I see it on.
See it, I'll have it. Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of pumpkin beers.
Yeah,
We
I hate it's and I when I was talking seasonal, I kind of I guess don't think of Oktoberfest beers, fest beers, whatever name you want to use, as really like a seasonal thing because I do drink them year round. So like I'll see them and I'll buy them and I'll drink them. So, but I guess they are seasonal for now. But as far as like the gimmicky seasonal shit, absolutely cannot stand pumpkin beers.
yeah.
And I've only ever had, like, I've tried a lot. When I worked at the bar, I would taste and I would find occasional things I liked. But I'd say a solid 95% of them I cannot stand. I find they fall between two extremes of either too much pumpkin spice or too much regular pumpkin. And I don't really like pumpkin by itself all that much. I'll eat pumpkin pie. Eat a slice of pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving. And that's like my pumpkin consumption for the year, you know, like
Right.
that is the limit of what I'm willing to ingest in pumpkin.
Now that I think about it, I bet some pumpkin beers would be decent with some like vanilla ice cream or even some like cheesecake, just like a traditional cheesecake. I bet that would probably be a way that I would be willing to have a little 4-ouncer.
Give it a
That's a
yeah,
nice.
but it would have to be a small.
Yes.
Like, but they always come in like a pint glass. It's just too much.
Yeah, it's a dessert.
I always tell people I don't throw away beers, and I've finished almost every single beer I've ever had in a full size thing when I just bought it. Now, when I go to beer festivals and I get like my little 2 ounces, I've definitely tossed an ounce away because it's only an ounce, you know. And I got 300 other beers to try. I don't have time to waste on stuff you don't really like. But one of the few beers that I've been like, yeah, throw this way, was a pumpkin beer. So, yeah.
I'm fine.
So if you're a fan of pumpkin beers,
we don't make them. I know Joe, our head brewer, he's not a fan. He doesn't make them.
You don't have to like base anything or get mad at us. You can enjoy what you want to enjoy. It's no skin off my back. Someone's drinking them, so somebody likes them, and it's just not me.
Plenty of people are drinking them because every single year they come out, and there's a whole bunch of people that come out with them.
Yeah, so. It's in droves on the shelves at Publix. But yeah, if you like them, you like them. I have no issue with that. Just don't hand me one.
Right. I mean, if you want to fight, we can fight about it. But I'm also cool with you just having your pumpkin beer and enjoying it.
Just drink your pumpkin beer. Someone needs to drink them and clear them off the shelves so that other beer that I do appreciate more can fill that space.
Yeah.
So,
what else we got?
Well, there's one story I sent you last week when we couldn't record about the Germany's last beer brewing nun, which I thought was a pretty solid story. She's like 72 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think it's super cool that she's just out there brewing beer.
Well, that's the traditional style of how beer is made, you know?
Yeah.
It was almost always women at the abbeys and churches that were making the ale. And that's pretty awesome.
I like her quote here. She said, "During Lent, fasting is difficult for me. Eating one meal a day is tough, but beer is liquid. It doesn't count as food when you fast. A strong beer gives me strength."
That's awesome.
I just like that last line. A strong beer gives me strength.
For 50 years, Sister Doris has been master brewer at the Mallersdorf Abbey Brewery in northeastern Bavaria. The cloisters were founded in the 12th century and are home to 400 nuns. In the late 19th century, the nuns were caring for hundreds of poor kids, and they decided to open the brewery in 1881 to raise money to help fund their mission. That is awesome.
She brews 2 types of beers, Bach and Helles, which I like both of those. Said she only brews beer that she drinks herself. So if they want to drink, the other sisters want to drink a wheat beer, they have to buy it themselves. She's like, I brew what I like. If you don't like what I like, then you can go buy it from someone else.
It looks like they got a pretty legit system.
Yeah, I mean, she's got a computer in there too. Yeah. It's definitely not like being brewed on some like scrap metal they found in the back. Like that's a full. It costs a lot of money.
She drinks on average a half a liter of beer a day. Half a liter. That's probably it's probably what I do.
But
might not be
when
quite
she has
there.
When she has company, she drinks a full liter.
A full liter. Yeah. That's pretty great. It's a great story.
Pretty awesome.
Beer, I think people maybe we've through some of the stories we've talked about, beer is history. Another story that you've sent me is that discovering some remnants of fermented alcohol of some kind from 9,000 years ago in China. And I've heard that exact same thing from about that same time ago in terms of mead from Egypt. So it's 9,000 years ago of human history. Dude, that's before shit was really recorded.
Yeah, and that's us. And the postulation being that they were like, if some people had leftover rice and the grains became moldy, they may have noticed that the grains started to ferment, and then just kind of like trial and errored it from there.
Yeah.
Which while like now, like there's the science of it all, but there's still some of that trial and error involved in some of the stuff. Like there's styles that are set, but then you like to fool around with it a little bit. And since they said 9,000 years ago, rice farming was only in like the very early stages in this part of China, it made it seem like it was more likely to have been part of some ceremony for some important person versus just like a kegger being held out in a rice paddy.
Oh yeah,
well, regular Joe Schmoes.
If they were just getting started with, essentially domesticating grains, the reality is that a lot of those are mistakes.
Yeah.
Alcohol got found because it got left out. Something happened, something weird, and people are like, "Oh, what's this? This is interesting." And then 10 minutes later, like, "Wait a minute, I feel weird." And good.
Hold on, what was in that?
Yeah.
Let's try that again.
So
yeah.
That's I don't know. 9,000, 10,000, 6,000. You know what I'm saying? Like anything more than 2,000, it's like.
Once you get beyond like where, paper or some sort of parchment was used, and like there was some sort of like attempt to like record history for longer.
Yeah.
And honestly, it could have been on stone or anything as long as it lasted. But like once you get back to like 7, 6, 7, 9, like history gets a little bit like harder to track.
Yeah.
But the fact that they go and they find these, parts of these like ceramic bowls and bottles and stuff, and then like test like the remainder of the mold in there and kind of, and they could be off the mark, clearly, but they could be on the mark. And I think it's just a pretty cool story.
Mm-hmm.
I
mean, I was like, yeah, the Roman Empire started even just before Christ. So, I mean, Greek. When did the Greek? I'm looking for the Greece timeline. So 8,000 BC, but yes, but the first Olympic Games weren't until 776 BC. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I mean, I know people were around back then, but in terms of the real Greece that we study, it's still, that's 3,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not that 9,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I thought it was a pretty cool story. So
yeah,
it just goes to show that like people have been trying to get drunk for a really long time.
Yeah,
and obviously by then they had discovered herbs that they could chew on or put into tea. They probably knew about shrooms long before long before they discovered beer. And if you eat this specific type of thing, it makes you feel a certain kind of way. I mean, because you see all sorts of like things throughout various histories of like using things to reach like the spiritual realm and stuff. But I'm glad that like 9,000 years ago, people were just trying to get drunk at a funeral.
I mean,
and that attitude survives to this day.
And if you walk it forward, lifespans have increased as we have learned to make and drink more alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I guess I'm not advocating that you drink too much, because I think there's some data on health problems that causes too. But hey, you never know.
Hey, what did this nun say? Strong beer gives you strength.
That's right.
It's science. Are you going to argue with a nun about this?
Yeah. She's been making beer for 50 years. She knows the science.
She's probably going to live. She's probably going to live to like 110 or something like that, and you'd be like, "Yeah, see, strong beer."
She probably passed out more beer during the coronavirus.
She's probably passed out more beer than I could possibly even drink in a lifetime.
God, that's pretty great. I kind of want to go there now.
I do too. It's the only place you can buy her beer. So.
Oh, is that what they said?
Only place you can buy that beer is from that.
From there.
Specific place. Yeah.
They must do well, because that was no small system.
No, and it's not small. It's not a small church either.
It's awesome.
Man, it's scenic though. I'll have to like tweet a picture of the cloister and like the rolling hills and like the plains. It's a pretty cool picture.
Yeah. Germany would be a cool place to go.
Yeah, maybe once maybe I'll have to do that with Bonnie. Leave the girls and be like, "Hey, we're gonna go to what? Malersdorf, Germany."
Okay, she's putting all these
for no particular reason.
She's got the milk crates for the beer. So badass. I wonder if she's doing the milk crate challenge.
Please don't. She needs to keep making beer until I can at least make it there.
I know. She probably is like, I need a full liter if I'm going to do the milk cart challenge.
Which is, by the way, one of the dumbest viral things that I've seen. But you know what? It's your life. If you want to try to climb a pyramid of milk crates, which I've sat on like a 2-stack of them before I know how inherently unstable they are. If you want to make that your life, go for it. Like I'm not your dad. I'm not related to you. If I'm related to you or you're my friend, I'm gonna be like, hey, I wouldn't do that. But if you choose to, and whatever.
Honestly, I can't. Yeah, I can't believe it that it became a thing. So I'm with you. And you know, I've seen so many videos of like old people doing it. Like, what the hell, man? I've seen like multiple broken legs. I've seen maybe really jacked up backs or kidneys, but I can't believe how many old people are like, yeah, this is. I'm gonna do
I already have a bad back. If I did that and then like fell on top of a milk crate and did what some of these people were doing, I'd be in my bed for like a week or two solid. Like,
yeah. It doesn't make any sense.
Take care of yourself, and that's not for me. That's what I'm saying. Like,
no,
you can do. People can do what they want with their lives. But I'm gonna choose.
We advocate that you do drink beer moderately.
Strong
we do not
beer.
advocate that you do the milk crate challenge.
No, especially not if you've been drinking strong beer.
Strong
beer may give you strength, but I don't think it's going to give you the agility you need.
It's not going to give you healing powers. Yeah. It won't make you become Wolverine. So don't fucking do the milk crate challenge.
So yeah, I don't know if I'd be willing to do it even if it didn't make me Wolverine, honestly. Seems like a lot of pain. But yeah, I think we've basically run through the topics that I was looking up random stuff today in the last week or so. But yeah. What's her name again? I want to cheers her out as
who? The brewer?
Yeah. What's her name?
Sister Doris?
Sister Doris Engelhard. Cheers up to her. It's badass. 50 years of brewing beer. You going to be doing this in another... You going to be running a brewery in another 40-something years?
No. No, absolutely not. 40 years? No.
40-something. Like,
yeah,
you've been open for what? 2 years now? 2? So, 48 more years, so you can catch up.
You know, the crazy thing is we've been open for 2, so that's all you really get credit for. But it was a solid 3 years prior to that where a lot of work went into it.
Yeah,
so it's like I feel way more burnt out than just 2 years.
All right, so you only got to make it 45 more years to catch up with where she's at right now. So I want you to take a picture of her, print it out, put it on the wall, and every day when you walk in the brewery, you're going to be like, "That's the goal." So that in 45 more years, I'm still working.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe I end up at a. That'd be great to be at a little place where you don't really have to worry about money. You know, you end up somewhere, you get doing what you want to do. For me personally, when I'm older, I just want to travel and hang out and lay around.
Basically,
work out, eat, drink, and be in cool places. That's pretty much it.
Strong beer.
Yeah.
Well, we can call it right there, I guess. Strong beer gives you strength. So have a strong beer this weekend while watching some college football. Throw out some thanks to Sister Doris, and then go start your own private high school and start playing IMG Academy. Like, you can get on ESPN, make lots of money before you have to dip into the sunset.
Yeah, and you really got to hair up your ass, leave some rice out in your garage, see if you can get it moldy.
Just see what happens. You never know what's going to happen. Maybe the next big wave in beer.
Maybe we can hop things up here.
All right. Well, it was fun chatting with you again, and everyone go drink some good beer.
You got it. Cheers, dude.
Cheers.